Hello and welcome to Juice with Justin. In this episode, I'm going to cover a career in S&C. In my opinion, you need 5 things to be successful if you want to get into strength and conditioning. 1, education, whether that's a degree or experiences that help you in this field, that's one of the prerequisites. 2, there's a bare minimum certification standard that you need, whether this is the CSCS in the USA, the ASCA out of Australia. There's a few things you can go through in that route. 3, good mentors, people that will help propel you forward along the way. 4, continuing education. This field's forever changing, and one needs to keep striving to move forward to remain on top of the field. Lastly, you kind of need a bit of luck. And I'm a firm believer that luck is opportunity meets preparation. So the 4 steps before this really help with this scenario. My journey in strength and conditioning started when I was 13 years old. I was hitting the gym all the time just because I wanted to get better at basketball, and I felt getting stronger and more athletic would help me in my sport. I'd go to the library, read books, ask people for advice, anything that could help me get better athletically. I was able to have a good high school career in basketball and ended up playing in college as well. Post-college, I had this sort of finding myself phase in transition. I had a bunch of jobs. I was in the hospitality industry, working as a bartender and a server. This really helped develop people skills that are really important in this field. I also learned how to sell, a super important skill and trait, not just for strength and conditioning, but we're always selling ourselves to prospective employers, clients and athletes, loved ones, things of this nature. After that, I had a short career in banking and finance. I was able to learn discipline, business concepts, managing systems, along with dealing with a variety of types of people, including high net worth individuals. This was paramount to being in the position now where I have my own business. It wasn't until after my career in banking and finance where I started to get this inkling, I was just unhappy and unfulfilled. I was looking forward to my Fridays where I could have the weekend to myself and not looking forward to waking up Monday morning and going to work. I had always had this want to live abroad, specifically in Asia, and so we decided to do that and we left. Prior to coming to Asia, I made sure I got all my certifications with respects to personal training and strength and conditioning. To be honest, when I came to Vietnam, I thought I was going to get back into finance, work at a bank, and then perhaps a few years down the line, open up my own gym. I was sort of fortunate at the time, moving to Vietnam, there were no jobs available. And I kind of got forced to jumpstart this whole dream, plan, whatever you want to call it. I started working as a trainer at a small gym, and I lacked the confidence in this field just because I didn't have the experience. But I ended up getting 1 client, that turned into 4, that turned into 20, and all of a sudden I was regularly training people, getting good results, and felt I was ready to branch off on my own. It was at that time where I was really fortunate to meet one of the mentors that I still have today. This was PPC Sport Science in California, and they're one of the best athletic training outfits in the world. A combination of this mentorship from them and from others, along with the previous experiences that I had, really allowed me to set up PPC and set the foundations for what it is today, 5 years later. Continually over the last 5 years, I've been non-stop continuing my education, whether that's reading articles, reading science-based journals, running trial and error experiments with myself and my clients. This includes spending thousands of dollars going to workshops and visiting strength and conditioning coaches that I admire all over the world. This is something that I live and breathe and that I'm super passionate about. For myself, it doesn't feel like work. You know, I made this comment when I was in my corporate job, really dreading Mondays. I now look forward to Mondays in the beginning of the week. It allows me to do something that I'm really good at, that I keep getting better at, and in which I keep providing value to the people that I help. This is really rewarding. This is where PPC is today. And with my background and a bit of the story that I've told, you can see I've taken care of a lot of the 5 things that I think one needs to be successful if you're thinking about getting into the field of strength and conditioning. I talked about education. Now, while I don't have a traditional degree, I did have a bunch of experiences through jobs and being in the trenches that served as that background to help me once I got into training. My path isn't for everyone. If you're younger and you're still going through your schooling, wondering about what to take, I do recommend getting a degree. There is a lot of benefits to that. Exercise science is a really good degree that can give you a good foundation to getting into this field. However, I would also consider other degrees like psychology, as it's also important to understand how human beings think, act, and react. I did get my certifications before I went to Vietnam, so I had that covered. I was able to find good mentors not only in P3, but other strength and conditioning coaches I've met and kept touch base with along the way. Outside of that, I've also had mentors to educate and coach me with other aspects of being successful in this field, which include business and emotional intelligence, things of that nature. I've always been on top of my continuing education. That never stops. The only thing I haven't covered was this whole thing about luck. And again, I think luck is opportunity meeting preparation. Prior to establishing PPC, I was already prepared for any opportunity that came my way. And I guess I was lucky in the sense that there really isn't strength and conditioning in Vietnam. So when I started everything, I was the only place to come to. It's like being a big fish in a small pond with relatively little competition. So in that sense, I was really lucky. If that's something you can do, I highly recommend it. This might mean pursuing strength and conditioning in an unconventional country or place. Maybe you're not in Europe or in Australia or North America. You go to a country where it's underdeveloped. And this would really give you an opportunity to move faster than your counterparts in these other countries. I think a good way to go is to find a niche that isn't necessarily as popular, but can give you a strong foothold, be that big fish in a small pond within that niche. For example, youth athletic development or the senior population. Those are 2 really underserved segments of strength and conditioning and of fitness. If you can get good at that stuff, well, there's probably going to be a place for you. Here's something to consider. Strength and conditioning is both art and science. And a lot of people focus just on the science part. What exercise to do, how to program, etc. And most people don't pay attention and put a lot of work into the art. Do you have high emotional intelligence? Can you deal with conflict? Are you good at reading people? And can you create things like buy-in and culture? Because you can know all the best science stuff when it comes to strength and conditioning, understand how to increase one's vertical, one's sprint time. You can understand all this stuff, but if you can't parlay this information over to the individual that you're helping, well, this information is useless. Last thing to consider. A career in strength and conditioning is not for everyone. It's not a glamorous industry, and don't come in this expecting to make truckloads of money. In reality, I think only the top 5% of strength and conditioning coaches, personal trainers, what have you, make over $100,000 a year. For the most part, you're going to make a modest living. Other sacrifices include no social life. I get up super early, 4:15 during the weekdays. I start taking clients at 5 a.m. Now you can imagine, if I'm getting up this early every day, I can't really meet my friends for dinner at 7 p.m. I've got to be in bed at 8. So this is just one sacrifice that you need to think of. Having said that, if you can take some of these negatives, there are some really good positives here. You can see tangible results of helping people reach their goals. Whether that's athletic goals, general fitness goals, coming back from injuries, this stuff really makes an impact on people's quality of life. And that is very admirable. I've never been one to sit at a desk all day and work a 9 to 5. And if you're looking for a career that's going to be challenging, keep you on your toes, that's going to make you keep getting better, but in the end allows you to help a lot of people, then this could be for you. And my last piece of advice, think of a career in strength and conditioning not as a hobby or as a job. If you think of it like that, you're going to be mediocre at best and you're not going to see a lot of results. Think of this as a career, a purpose, a way of life. And if you can do that, you're likely going to be going down the right path. I'm going to take a minute to announce the winner of this week's PPC approved Small Business Giveaway. This week, we're auctioning off a $500,000 V&D gift certificate to Meatworks. This week's winner is Tim Walle. I'll be in touch. Next week's going to be our last PPC approved small business giveaway. This gift certificate and voucher will be for El Gaucho Argentinian Steakhouse. This is going to be a real special giveaway, so stay tuned for details on our next episode.